patrol.
Standing by your side, with my heart on high drive. I'll do what it takes to make you believe. With my heart on high drive. We do what we want, but when I'm free, with our hearts on
High patrol.
Welcome back everybody to the Funker News Network. I'm Ronnie and I'll be your host again tonight. I'm sorry we're late. I had to give my goldfish a bath. I love Fluffy, the goldfish, and it took me a little longer than I thought to do that, but we've got a good episode for you guys tonight. It is going to be a little bit shorter because I had to start a little bit later, but my night's going to continue, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on. But before I get there, let's talk about our sponsor. It's us. We are our sponsor tonight because I want to talk about all the ways that you guys can support us. And I'll give you a quick intro with who we are. We are Funker530, and we're here to just really talk about the combat footage that we see across the globe to help you and others understand what war looks like, and hopefully to help those that are making decisions, leading our country, understand what war looks like as well. Hollywood has a habit of glorifying it, if you will. War's nasty. It's gross. It's yuck, and we're all really just bags of meat with gooey red stuff inside. So once people start to begin to understand that a little bit further, I think we'll all be in a better place. So the ways that you can support us is a brand new way out there. We launched this last week, is our Patreon, first and foremost. Head on over to Patreon, use the command !Patreon to find it. Drop your support over there, and that's going to give you a discount for the pinned comment, which is the merch. All kinds of good stuff like this. Hopefully you'll be a better model in it than I am. So check out the merch. You can also become a member here on YouTube, and you'll also be able to get merch discounts as a YouTube member in our Discord. We are tonight's sponsor. That's our pitch. Like it, love it, or hate it. But we love you. Let's jump right in, though. We got a lot to talk about, and I don't have a whole lot of time to do that. But we've been talking a lot about some of this equipment that's been making its way across from the west to Ukraine, and we're now starting to see some of the footage of that equipment being used. For those that don't know, we're only live 2 nights a week, at least right now. So things that get released between the live streams, we typically try to cover, do our best to. We're only here for about an hour, most streams. So we try to cover those in the next follow-up stream that we have. We're going to talk a little bit about artillery, and specifically those 777s. It's a 155 millimeter howitzer that have made their way into Ukraine. And I got to tell you, Ukraine is in some people's minds, been a little bit more effective with their artillery than even the U.S., and it's got a lot to do with red tape. A great metric that I came across, that of course I can't validate. A great metric that I came across on Twitter was that the call to shot time, on average, in the global war on terror was about an hour for United States artillery. In Ukraine, you're looking at minutes. The amount of minutes you can count on one hand. Now, the reason the U.S. has such a long call to fire time, which is effectively the time in which a fire mission is identified and artillery starts sending rounds downrange and presumably down people's throats is because of collateral, because of varying levels of approval to ensure that risk is mitigated for collateral, friendly fire, etc. Ukraine has deferred a lot of that down. They have deferred a lot of that decision-making down to very low levels, and they also have some homegrown capabilities that they're using, some very advanced or at least modernized capabilities that they're using to control fire missions. There's a whole lot of other stuff that I've been reading about from an artillery perspective over the last couple days, and I think we're actually going to do a Funker News Network episode on it specifically. There's a lot of it that we can't really validate, but it does bring to light some of those reasons that Ukraine has been effective from an artillery perspective. They're very, very effective, and how and why Russia has been at least somewhat ineffective from a counter battery perspective. So I've got an episode that I'm working on right now. We're going to see the very first footage that we've seen so far, if you haven't seen it yet, of those American 777s being used in Ukraine. My understanding is there's about 310 total trained Ukrainians for the 155 Howitzers. It is the largest towed artillery piece that Ukraine has, not including some of the old Soviet-era 203s that they have in the environment, but were supposedly not in working order. Now, they do also have 152s, 152 millimeter towed systems, but the 155 will be the most modern, the newest system that they have on the ground. This is coming up for you guys right now. I'm not gonna have a whole lot of patience for the for tonight. I'm a little spicy. You know, my workout was a little bit too long. My goldfish didn't take well to his bath. So just so you know, we're gonna hand out bands as though they were Halloween candy. Just heads up. Here we go. This is one of those 777s. It is a towed system, and we provided 90, the United States did, along with a small handful from other Western countries. Don't skip leg day. Oh, we didn't. I did leg day today. I haven't gotten my Instagram post up for my workout yet today. I've just been busy. Just been putting in the time. So we've got 90 of these systems that are being sent to Ukraine, 180,000 plus rounds being sent to Ukraine, and 70 some odd tactical vehicles to tow these systems. Something that's really interesting that Ukraine likes to do is oftentimes when we're looking at Ukrainian artillery footage, we're not looking at just row after row or, you know, entire batteries. One of the leading theories that, you know, once again, of course, I cannot substantiate, is that Ukraine prefers to deploy its artillery from a single perspective, a little bit more diverse of a deployment, rather than that line, you know, historically that you've seen all the way back to the advent of the cannon, right? Or the invention of the cannon. You'd have those rows of cannon that would all just fire, generally speaking, in that direction, and the cannon from each side would just kind of duke it out. Russia still does that. Ukraine has been deploying these artillery pieces from an individual perspective, and there's a system that they're supposedly using called GIS for artillery. GIS Art for Artillery, excuse me. Now, what that system allows them to do is, according to what I've read, it allows them to assign fire missions by capability relative to geography. So if I have a target in one location, I can assign that target to multiple different sets of capabilities, whether it be a soft team, RD, MLRS, what have you. The reason that is actually a somewhat of an advanced system is it removes a lot of the red tape that the United States has to go through with, the attack fire system. There's another system out there. I'm not an RD guy. But Ukraine has been very fast on the ground, taking a couple shots, displacing. And the challenge that presents to Russia is counter battery. So the counter battery radar, what that's going to look for is that's going to look for entire batteries, entire signatures and rows of artillery that they can then return fire. I've got some photos pulled down here that I'll pull up in a moment showing Russia's deployment of artillery. And when you look at something like this and you see these individual deployments, you'll begin to understand the difference in doctrine. So Ukraine has them very dispersed, but they are all still targeting the same location. Russia kind of using that historical model of, the artillery firing line, the battery fire, if you will. Let's see if I can grab those photos that I pulled down of Russian artillery. I didn't have a whole lot of time to prepare for tonight's stream. Truth be told, my 9 to 5 ran a little bit over today. I knew it would. I tweeted about it. If you're not following, me on Twitter, that's, sorry. Going into my folder here. While we're pulling this stuff up, if you guys, that's not what I'm looking for. Actually, it's kind of what I'm looking for, but we'll get to that one in a little bit. While we're pulling this up, though, if you guys wouldn't mind, let me know where you're chiming in from. That way I can just get a general idea of everybody out there. Welcome in. Hit the like button. Slap it. Don't break it. Don't smash it. We need it. Major missile strike in Odessa a few hours ago. Destroyed major weapon. Yep, tracking that. We've got some footage of this past missile strike that was there. Goodness, Mississippi, Wales, Alabama. I'm going to check back in on that in a moment. Is this one of the ones? No. That's the PSRL. Just let me know where you guys are chiming in from. Hit the like button. I have my computer set up to not show the preview of the file, and it's just the most annoying thing ever. We're going to pull it up from the source rather than from the PC because it doesn't look like I was prepared enough to do my job today. But I'm going to show you a quick header image of Russian artillery in those lines, that traditional battery formation that I was talking about. Why not check your streaming analytics after? I have no idea how many people are watching right now. I don't monitor streaming analytics. I don't watch viewers. There could be 5 people watching right now. There could be 10 million watching. I've been streaming and creating content now for the last, here it is. So this is kind of post Ukrainian strike, but you can see the general formation here. Right? Ukraine doesn't really deploy their artillery in this way. I've seen very, very little footage of Ukraine's artillery in those stereotypical lines, that battery type formation. From Russia's perspective, I was chatting with one of our writers, Will. Will's a former mortarman. And, he was sharing some things that he's noticed in mortar videos. I mean, Russia's still using plotting boards and bag charges for their mortars. A lot of antiquated techniques are being used by Russia right now. And Ukraine is kind of thinking outside the box when it comes to individual displacement of artillery and still having those target the same location. There are people that are out there that have kind of analyzed some of the impacts in the footage, and they've noted that it's coming from different directions, different calibers. Just something interesting that I've been reading about and researching over the last little while, over the last couple days. All right, let's move on to the next footage. Again, we don't have a whole lot of time tonight because I was late. T90. So this is actually a very interesting video. You know, T90 was the talk of the town for the first few weeks of the war, but we didn't really see it until relatively recently. Excuse me. We're gonna watch actually Russia engage one of their own T90s here after reportedly it was disabled by a Ukrainian employment of a Carl Gustav. If you're not familiar with Carl Gustav, it's a recoilless, you know, big old shoulder-fired rifle. One that I have never had the chance to shoot, and I'm really jealous of any of you that have had that opportunity. It's coming up right now. So down here in frame, there is a disabled. We're gonna have to go full screen here. Oh, gonna have to go to the left. Oh, and we missed it. So in our frame down here, low right, you're going to see a disabled, reportedly T90. Of course, you know which pixel tells me that that's a T90. But this tank here is the tank that engaged that T90, and the reason that Russia would have wanted to do that is to keep it from getting into Ukrainians' hands. What I've seen, according to Ukrainian artillery, all artillery pieces probably have 50 to 100 meters between them. Exactly. And the way, with some of those antiquated, those old, aging techniques that Russia is using, if we use mortars as an example, what they'll typically do is they'll input in a battery formation, they'll input that same data down the line so that they're all engaging to generally the same location. Historically, and the U.S. still does this to an extent, at least to my understanding. Any arty guys out there, please help me out. But historically, that's how it worked. Is you'd have your cannons, you know, opposite of each other, and they just duke it out with each other over and over again until eventually one battery is able to take out the other battery. So much for Putin shutting down the internet. Well, yeah. Another thing that I was reading about. Artillery is actually relative to Starlink, right? Now, way back in the beginning of March, Russia actually shut down something like 40,000 SATCOM terminals across you know, Europe, not just in Ukraine. I mean, Germany, other places too. That was when Ukraine made the call and request for Starlink. Russia has been steadily trying to target Starlink to take that offline, and Ukraine is now using Starlink from a C2 perspective across artillery, you know, ground forces, and Russia has been somewhat unsuccessful in targeting Starlink. What's the win for Russia? What do they gain? That's an interesting question, and it's a difficult one to answer, in my opinion, because the end state for Russia is probably going to be and we'll look at the campaign map to go through this. It's probably going to be some formal acknowledgement of that southeastern land bridge between Crimea and Donbass. 3 weeks ago, I would have told you that they just wanted Donbass and Crimea, but when they start to set conditions in areas outside of Donbass and Crimea, you know, like in Kherson, we talked last week about how they're enforcing the ruble to be used in Kherson. There are another couple cities where the ruble is either about to be or is being enforced. You know, when they're setting conditions to establish either breakaway states or, you know, fully annex those locations, that's probably the end state. Someone should disable a few Ruski GPS's satellites to slow down the rocket fire. Thanks for the 5, Dredge. That'd be helpful. You know, I'm sure there are always battles going across cyberspace. For those of you that don't know, I'm a CISSP. I've been doing cybersecurity for a little while. I'm actually moving out of it, but that kind of stuff is happening 24/7. Mostly in the espionage area. When I was still doing operations type stuff, they called it computer network exploitation. But that stuff's happening every day. Every day. I'll tell you that for 100% certainty. You know, Russia has state-sponsored threat actors just like China does, Iran does, even France has state-sponsored, cyber threat actors, the United States does. Kurt, thank you very much for the $5. Ghost Pepper or Funker. Spicy. I am spicy today. I am. And for those that are wondering, I'm actually training for the Murph, right? I'm a pretty fit guy. They call me Ronnie Fit for a reason, I guess. It's actually because I lost like 100 pounds, but I'm training for a Murph. So I'm going to do a Murph live for charity on Memorial Day. That's what I've been running around in a plate carrier for the last, week and a half or so. I haven't done that in a long time. Kind of busted my butt there. Bill, thanks for the $2. Yannick, thank you for the $1.56. Your guess on the chance of a clash with NATO? It depends on the definition of clash. I think there's a chance that NATO tries to do something weird, like establish a NATO safe zone in the west of Ukraine, and then that kind of spirals and snowballs. This next video we're going to watch is actually terrifying, right? So you always hear the stories of trench warfare in, World War I, but I mean, it's 2022, right? And we're about to watch some just terrifying trench warfare type footage. It's coming up for you guys right now. And this is just outside of Kremenna. I can show you guys that on a map here right after we watch the video. Coming up.
Да они в лесу сидят нахуй. Беспокойщий огонь работает. Давай чуть-чуть работай, чуть-чуть. Хорош, остановись. Все, танки пошли. Оба!
These are Russians. This is a Russian perspective right now.
Вон она, ебана в рот, их не джавелин, ебаный нахуй. Давай. Эти 18-е бери, на передний край выставляем. Вот эту хуйню надо обязательно с собой сегодня забрать. У нас хороший улов, ебать. В начале, блядь. Вот это денек. Надо тот окоп еще досмотреть нам, блядь. А? Перекрываю тебя, давай. Переходи, Ангир, туда, перекрывай его, прикрывай. Вот и поработали, нахуй. Вот и взяли опорник.
All right. So, I mean, that trench, for lack of a better term, meta, that has happened in and around Donbass, that has existed for like 8 years now. A long time. They're just so well dug in there on both sides that, and that's one of the reasons that when we look at the campaign map, we see those rapid Russian advances elsewhere. But in Donbass, you don't see a whole lot of movement there, and that's not because Russia isn't trying to. I see a lot of questions about the Murph. M-U-R-P-H. It's actually a workout named after Lieutenant Michael Murphy. He was a Navy SEAL. And what you do is you wear a 20-pound plate carrier, or close to it, as close as you can get. You run a mile in it. Then you do 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats. And then you run another mile. It was one of his favorite workouts. He was killed in Afghanistan. If you're interested in his story and how he was killed in Afghanistan, I suggest you either read the book, first and foremost, The Lone Survivor by Marcus Luttrell, or you can watch the movie, The Lone Survivor, and get about 10% of that total story. All right, let's move on to our next piece of footage here. This was actually crazy, and I'm gonna link you guys directly to this one because I would really love for you guys to go and watch or read Josh's write-up that he did on this. Josh is a former Marine machine gunner. What we're going to look at is high-angle Mark 19 fire. If you're not familiar with the Mark 19, it's an automatic grenade launcher. And when I say high angle, I mean you essentially point the grenade launcher nearly to the sky to engage targets that are very, very close. We're going to watch this first, and then I'm going to show you how you can find Josh's read-up. It's coming up for you guys, or write-up, excuse me. It's coming up for you guys right now. And if you guys are interested in following along with all those workouts for the Murph, head over to Instagram. Just Google Ronnie Fit. You'll find me. This is high-angle Mark 19 fire. Now, he is pointing that thing pretty much. It actually goes further. But that's about as high as that tripod system will let him go.
Снимаем нахуй.
Now, in Josh's write-up, he actually points you to some resources where you can see how you can actually get that thing to an even higher angle to engage even closer targets. I have spent some time on the Mark 19. That's one of those that I have had the opportunity to shoot, and it's one of my favorites. All of ours that I've been exposed to are absolute jam factories there. All right. So what I want to do is I want to show you guys the website really quick to make sure that you guys know that there is, you know, a section where our team of writers and journalists actually spend quite a bit of time to provide you a little bit of context to these videos. Here is the link again. And when you first access it, if you're on your desktop, of course, coming up. When you first access it, it's going to look a lot like this. We're very proud of our comments section. Those are custom built by us. It's a custom built comment section. The whole website's custom, I should say. But there is a tab here where you can click read full story. So Josh really walks you through what this high angle fire, you know, means, how it can actually get even higher angle to engage stuff that's even closer. So I strongly recommend for all the footage that you guys go to the website and take a look at, check into the analysis section. You know, if you want to learn a little bit more about our authors, they've got these little author blocks down here. Josh is a writer himself, an accomplished one, and like I said, a former Marine machine gunner. We also have Austie and Will. Those are names you guys should be familiar at this point. Okay. All right, let's jump into the next piece of footage. We are going to be moving along. I don't know if we're going to be able to get to a campaign map tonight, but we got a funny coming up for you guys here. What I didn't know is I didn't know that the dude from the Beverly Hillbillies had a brother, and I also didn't know that he was in Ukraine fighting against the Russians. But it turns out he is, and he is behind a pretty heavy piece of machinery. Coming up for you now.
Разблокировал.
Welcome to Ukraine!
Разблокировал.
Welcome to Ukraine!
If you can't hear him, he said, "Welcome to Ukraine." 203 is like 400 meters max range, but it depends on point or area targets. Hey, Joshy. What's up, buddy? Those guys do an awesome job. They do. You know, again, I am one very, very small part of this team. I'm actually a part of the admin staff. You know, the only reason we all drew straws, and I'm the one that had to do the live streams. He's had a couple vodkas, a couple vodka bottles. Maybe I want to watch it again.
Разблокировал.
Welcome to Ukraine!
Send it, Pop. Send it. All right. Please make sure you've hit the like button. I need to check in again on some of this support. T, thank you very much for the $5. Ronnie, you may be fit, but we all know you're still a delicate flower. Don't give away my secret. I'm a big old teddy bear, man. 10 out of 10 would forcefully, excuse me, words are tough, be your big spoon. I prefer a little spoon anyway. So that's a match made in heaven. Cricket, thanks for the $5. Blessings from Austin, Texas. Man, I really want to go to Texas. Like, really bad. Mr. Garrett, thank you for the $4.99. Appreciate what y'all do. Haven't been able to catch y'all's live. Thanks to my 9 to 5. Take my last $5, you handsome devil, you. We appreciate it very much. We are a small team. There's only 6 of us total. Everybody on our team is a veteran of foreign wars. We are U.S. and allied nation veterans. The channel was actually started by a Canadian infantryman, Funker, our boss. Well, he likes to think our boss. He likes to think he's our boss, which is laughable. Just absolutely laughable. Next set of footage we've got, and we will go through our trending, but I've got one more footage section here that I want to get through. And then we'll hit the trending videos, and then we'll probably be done for the night. So this one's kind of a crazy watch too. You know, we've seen a lot of footage of anti-tank mines, of disabled Russian and Ukrainian vehicles. Anti-armor has been on full display. in Russia's invasion so far. We're actually going to sit in a Russian T-72 here as it runs over an anti-tank mine. And we did previously post a version of this, but this isn't an extended cut of it. And I thought that it might be something interesting to watch for those that haven't seen the original yet. Now, it is a little bit long, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get us to the explosion or around it here. It's an 8-minute total video. Matter of fact, we're just going to let it roll, and, you know, I'll hang out and chat with you guys for a little bit. We'll go here. Keep up the great content, Ronnie, at all. I also enjoy your EFT streams. Oh, thanks for that, dude. Good luck on the Murph. Thanks, man. I'm actually nervous. I've got a busted hand, so I'm pretty nervous about the pull-ups. Keenan, thank you very much for the $5. Elvis and me say hi from Memphis. Well, thanks for the 5, man, and hello back. Great footage to show the cost of the Russian invasion. Love your coverage on the lives. Hit that damn like button if you know what's good for you. Please do hit the like button, and thanks for the 5, man. I'm laying in bed with my rifle in my hand, ready to fire off a mag. It's weird that you call it your rifle. I don't even want to carry that further anymore. Be safe. Be safe. Mark, thanks for the $10. Thanks to y'all from Big Sky Country. Thanks for the 10. I'm gonna give you full screen for a little bit. We'll hang out and we'll watch this. This is pretty interesting footage to watch. Apparently, Russia lost a T-90 to a Carl Gustav. We reviewed that footage earlier. The Gustav might have disabled it, but a Russian tank destroyed it. So if you're wondering what's going on here, what he's doing is he's hooking up a tow cable. And something to keep in mind, this is a Russian tank recovering Russian armor, and as an eventuality, what's going to happen is that tank is going to hit an anti-tank mine, and we're going to be sitting in the driver's seat for it, or at least on top of the turret. Funker, any thoughts on the Minsk II Accord? It's kind of out the window at this point, isn't it? Ran out of fuel, maybe? Maybe. It's smoking. So it looks like it might have been disabled earlier, and the tank was called in from a recovery perspective. Hey, Steven. You already passed it? I haven't touched anything. Or did it already hit the anti-tank mine? No. There it is, right there. And we'll see it from another angle here. Now you can see it throw a track, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there's its track. So he's lost his left track. Right there in front of it. Putin would settle neutral Ukraine, maybe neutral Ukraine, but he is not going to give up Donbass. He has said that very clearly. Putin wants a Ukraine that is, from a military perspective, reliant on Russia. All right, we're done with this one. Putin wants a politically neutral Ukraine and from a military perspective, one that is reliant on Russia. Well, why revenge for Snake Island? I thought they survived. They did. They still took Ukrainian ground, and revenge for taking Ukrainian ground. I'm sure there were probably folks that died there. You know, I wouldn't say that the entire island was only run by 19 people. If it was, that's amazing. And it was just a title. Cricket, thanks for the $5. Putin's parade boat was sunk today by a laser-guided bomb. We have seen quite a bit of patrol boats being taken out, and I almost had one of those set up for tonight's review. Somebody mentioned some strikes in Odessa. We've got one here that just took place over the last couple days. Again, I didn't have a whole lot of time to prepare for tonight's stream. I had about 30 minutes, guys. So if my timelines are a little bit off, please forgive me. Nobody's perfect. Josh, are them real guns in the back? I'm Ronnie. And they are definitely not a Vector, a 300 Blackout pistol, and a Remington 700. And they are 100% airsoft. Yeah. Definitely airsoft. Coming up. This is a strike in Odessa. If you're not familiar with where Odessa is and kind of the strategic importance of Odessa, this is one that I'm happy to pull up a map for. Hey, Ronnie, what's the song at the beginning of the stream? That's going to be Hyperdrive by Sebastian Forslund. Hyperdrive. Love that song. Some Javelin action coming from the 30th Mechanized Brigade. We've watched a lot of the 30th Mech, a lot of their footage. They're deployed, I want to say near Donetsk. No, they are Luhansk, and the 54th is Donetsk. So this is a Javelin hitting a Russian tank. It's impossible to know, which Russian tank or what model of tank. You'll understand why. Gotta kill the music here. Let's run that again. Starting about here. There's the impact. For those that aren't familiar with the Javelin is top down. You know, there was a lot of talk of, quote, cope cages being used earlier in the war. You've seen, to be honest with you, I think Russia kind of just gave up. I haven't seen any more of the cages on top. I think they figured that out pretty quickly. But, you know, Russia was doing all sorts of things like putting slat armor on top of the tanks to try to defeat the javelins. But, you know, the javelin is designed to defeat you know, that slat armor that they were putting on the top. Gustavo, thank you for the $9.99. Good luck with the Murph, brother. I'll be doing the same on Memorial Day. Hell yeah, man. Cricket, thank you for the $5. Mr. Garrett, thank you for the $4.99. Is it Galen? Is that how you pronounce that? Okay, I lied. Here's my last $5. Don't give me all your $5, dude. Just buy yourself a beer on me for the next time you want to do that. Mark, thanks for the $10. Thanks to you all from Big Sky Country. I can't read today. Ants that can't read good. Randy, thank you for becoming a member. Oh, you upgraded to Beast. Thanks for doing that, dude.
Outstanding.
There's no value to this next video, but this one's for all you Chechen fanboys out there. We'll just watch the video. Here you go. You can have it full screen.
Шакалы, блядь.
Bro, what the are you doing?
Шакалы, блядь.
By the time he was about to put some, you know, generally speaking, accurate rounds on target, he was out of ammo. Suppressing fire? What's he suppressing? The trees? I'm watching it again. I'm watching it myself. You guys don't get to see this one. Whatever. All right. We mentioned Snake Island earlier. So Snake Island has been getting just absolutely rocked. Multiple strikes on Snake Island. Russia has begun to kind of evacuate troops from there. What we're going to be looking at here is a Russian Mi-17 chopper that appears to be doing some form of an evac, but it doesn't make it out of there. It didn't make it. So it's an interesting one to watch. You know, it sounds like it's in a pretty strategic location, being off the southwest coast of Ukraine. You know, so it's definitely probably somewhere that Ukraine wants back. From an observation perspective, it's in a great spot, and you just watch the video. Here you go. Full screen for this one. Nope. Music. Now we've got other footage of some low-flying bombers hitting Snake Island as well. Those are on the website. You guys are welcome to go check those out. Just search for Snake Island on the website. You'll be able to find it. I see a lot of comments saying, I heard it was a Ukrainian chopper. Which pixel tells you that it was a Ukrainian chopper? You're right in that we don't know. We don't know what we don't know. Depends on who decides to report it. Right? I've seen reports from both sides that it's a Ukrainian chopper, it's a Russian chopper. Why would the footage be released now if it was a Ukrainian chopper on Snake Island? That supposedly, reportedly, and presumably has been occupied since the capture of the Snake Island Ukrainians by Russians. Why would there be a Ukrainian chopper there now? That wouldn't make sense to me. But again, if it is a Ukrainian chopper, you know, it's a Ukrainian chopper. The next thing that we do is typically every Tuesday, we go through what I like to call Trending Tuesday, where I take you guys through the top 5 trending videos over the last week. And I didn't have these written down, so we're actually going to do it together. And I'm going to show you guys how you can do this at any time. Watch any of our trending videos whenever you like. And I'm going to do it from the homepage. So, here's our homepage. If you guys want to check out our trending videos, you click on Trending at the top. And it's that easy. So, our first video, number 5. Ukrainian Su-27 low-level airstrikes. That one's coming up for you guys right now. And these are airstrikes on Snake Island. I think it's pronounced, what is it, Zemini Island? Is that how you pronounce it? Coming up for you now. I'm going to give you full screen for this one. I think we could play this. Chauncey? Hey, Chauncey. You said, I can't wait for Russia to use nukes. Well, I just slapped you in the and hid you from the channel. So, I don't know. Enjoy timeout. The forever ever timeout. Nobody should be excited about nukes. The heck out of here. That was number 5 of our trending videos. Next one coming up here is, and I'm pretty lenient with the chat, guys. I don't do a whole lot of the banning myself. Some of the mods might be jumping in, you know, slapping on hangdowns. I typically don't do a lot of that stuff myself, but that one was getting out of here. No thanks. The next trending video that we've got here, and I'll pull up all of the trending videos, is going to be some more, some Daddy Bayraktar. So we're going to grab that. This one was posted by Joshy. Mr. Josh Brooks, coming up for you guys right now. And here you go. Not going to play this audio. Might get a copyright problem with that too. I hope each one of you are singing. You know what? I'm going to give you the Bayraktar song. There you go. There's your audio for the video. I do have it on a hotkey. I can do it whenever I want. What about it? What are you gonna do? Ah?
Прийшли окупанти до нас в Україну форм.
Okay. The bees are thank you for the $2. Thoughts on Russia's economy in the future? I don't. You know, I wish I was a little bit better versed in you know, economics, but I'm not. You know, I'm really not. I do appreciate the $2 very much, though. I think that a hole has been dug, and that being said, from an overgeneralization. Again, this is a generalization of a very complex topic, especially when you start talking about economics. There are a lot more countries that, although they have taken a stand against the war, against the invasion, have a vested interest in Russia's economy recovering. Right? Does that make sense? So it wouldn't surprise me to see various countries kind of coming together to I wouldn't say help Russia get back on its feet, but not prevent it. You know, because there's still a very, very large population of people that are lined up blocks and blocks and blocks for a loaf of bread. You know. All right, let's move on to our next one. Trending video number 3 is going to be a modified drone dropping around on top of BTR-82 infantry fighting vehicle. That's coming up for you guys right now. All right, show us the feet. You're not ready for that. Here, let me show you why. So check out these knuckles. Very soft knuckles. But you see the hair? Imagine that on feet. I'm just giving you the mind image. It's up to you with what you do with that information. All right? That's entirely up to you with how you use that information. Let's take a look at this. I think we can use this overlay for this one. No audio to this one, though. Direct impact there. Now, it doesn't appear that one did too much damage. But that is our number 3 trending video on the site. Those ones always do interest me quite a bit because that is not a precision munition. You know, that's a eyeball it and drop it kind of deal. Coming off some of those commercial drones. Going back into trending. So this one I can't show you. We showed this to you here last Thursday. We showed this last Thursday, and I told you I was making an exception. Something that we can't do per YouTube terms of service is show you people dying, right? That's not something that YouTube really wants on their platform. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link this video, and I'm going to tell you what it is. This is Russian Spetsnaz eliminating Ukrainian ground troops, assaulting what appears to be a small compound. Ukrainians die in this. Ronnie, why don't you show the Russian side of the war? Here you go. Here. There it is. That is not safe for work, but that is our number 2 trending video. I am not anti-Russia, guys. Not even a little bit. I am anti-Russia's invasion of Ukraine. There's a big difference. There's a big difference in that. I'm actually a fan of Russian stuff. I like vodka. Right? The Russian people didn't do anything to me. There's a difference in being anti-Russia and anti-Russian invasion of Ukraine for literally no reason. You can't even say that it's ethnicity. Well, Donbass is, ethnically Russian. Okay, well then go back to Donbass. Why are you in Kharkiv? Why did you assault Kiev? Why are you in Kherson? Why do you have Crimea? Our number one video is a Ukrainian soft team retaking some ground in Kharkiv. This one's an absolute banger to watch. It is safe for work, so we are going to be able to watch it. I just don't know whether or not we're going to be able to play the audio, but in the stream description, there's actually links to all of these videos that we've looked at today, except for the trending ones, because those are super easy to find. All you got to do is click on trending at the top, and they're right there in front of you. Yep, so we're not going to, I don't believe we're going to be able to play the audio on this one, but again, you guys are welcome to go and check this out with the audio. Ukraine's got a habit of doing some pretty banger stuff with their music. Matt Van Dyken, thanks very much for hitting the support button, man.
Outstanding.
Here you go. I'm going to give you guys full screen on this one. We'll play sound until we've got something recognizable as copyright.
Я выключил еще, когда отлетал.
Вот сюда.
Became a member 45 minutes ago. Did you, Andrew? It's not showing up just yet. You might have to just like restart the stream or something. Yeah, now we've got that that copyright problem. What's the deal with Snake Island? Snake Island's been targeted pretty heavily over the last few days by Ukraine air, and it's just absolutely getting torn apart. Brent, that's a $20 question. That's a $20 question, man. And we were talking about that a little bit earlier. And just to read that question out loud in case it gets lost in the chat. What's the end state of this for a win, quote unquote? Endless insurgency in the east for Ukraine, endless insurgency in the west for Russia. Can't figure it out. The end state of all of this is, you know, again, that's the biggest question that everybody's got is, at what point does Russia stop? I don't see that happening. At what point does Ukraine stop? I don't see that happening, especially not with the amount of, you know, support from the West that they're receiving. I mentioned a long time ago that the likelihood of us seeing the last of Ukraine as it was pre-invasion was very high. There is a very strong likelihood that Russia just does not concede any of the territory that it has taken so far, or that Putin doesn't, I should say, because we see weird things happening in other cities, things happening like forcing the ruble, establishing puppet governments, right? A Russian-backed government in, you know, Kherson, Russian-backed governments in other metropolitan areas along that southern land bridge that they have. It's more likely that if Russia retains that area in the southeast, then the former endless insurgency in the east is what you're looking at. End state equals Donbass and all ports. They would have to take Odessa for that, and they've been wildly unsuccessful in pressing further to the west than really Mykolaiv. Russia will never stop. Ukraine will never stop fighting until it's pre-February 24th. So that's still with conceded territory in Donbass and Crimea. And Zelensky has kind of stated very specifically, I refuse to concede any of Ukrainian territory. What video is this? Let me link that for you guys. I can't play the audio because of copyright problems, but there's a corgi in it. Is the map still available that shows the Russian controlled areas? It is. It is. So that's going to be live UA map. Live UA map. Wrong video? Oh, is that the wrong video? My bad, guys. Let me grab that for you really quick. We're going to pause this. Give me a second. One moment. Okay, I screwed it up. That's the right video. I just pasted and didn't hit enter. There we go. That's the video we're watching right now. I just can't play the audio, guys, because of copyright problems. We've been slapped pretty... YouTube's been slapping us around pretty heavily for copyright. I'm helping. Thanks, Josh. What's to stop combatants from changing their armband colors and sneaking into opposing territory? We've seen that happening since day one. The most trending video we have on the website is actually a team of Russian saboteurs trying to roll their way through Kiev and just getting absolutely destroyed. Just watch the SU flying low. Did you see the UFO in the footage? There was another plane, if I'm not mistaken. Kraken kicking ass around Kharkiv. Yeah, so there has been a lot of progress from a Ukrainian counteroffensive perspective in the north near Kharkiv, to the point to where Russia has actually started deploying units very forward. What is that? Belgorod? Is that how you say that? Near Belgorod, to keep that pressure on so that Ukraine isn't able to take any more ground. Do you think Ukraine will win this war? I don't think anybody wins this one. To be honest with you, I don't. What does winning mean for Ukraine? Do they go back to pre-February 24th, which is still, conceded territory in Crimea and in Donbass? Do they go back to pre-2014? There are complexities here that's a $20 question on a $5 budget, What's the state of Ukraine's Air Force? Still flying, my understanding of the most recent reports. But a heavy emphasis on retaining what they have remaining, right? So that means that the last reports I really read about, from a fixed wing perspective, they were really heavily focused on the defense of Kiev and ensuring that they were doing everything that they could to maintain some level of air superiority around Kiev. But they did just receive, quite a few choppers, right? While I understand that sounds like it's pedestrian, it does provide a lot of battlefield mobility. The Russian Air Force is a joke. A lot of people say that. So here you go. Here's something interesting. I'm about to defend how Russia does air. Russian doctrine doesn't really treat airspace as its own domain. They don't. Russian doctrine treats airspace as more of an enabler for ground forces. So when a lot of people were saying things like, they were trying to do airborne stuff without having air superiority, that's not really how they do business. It's not. They use it as an enabler to remove obstacles. And when I say obstacles, I don't mean like barbed wire. I mean, remove things that are inhibiting ground forces. So even anti-air that would theoretically keep choppers from being able to fly. Now, they were successful in getting all the way to Hostomel. The problem is I don't think they anticipated Ukraine early on in the war being able to take Hostomel back so rapidly. Colton, thank you for the $1. Let me check in on some of this support, guys, and then we're actually going to be closing things out. I went longer than I expected to tonight. Colton, thanks again for that $1. Dan, thank you for the $10. Brent, thank you for the 707. Matt, thanks again for becoming a member. Guys, that's gonna probably be it for us. I'm gonna continue my live night. I'm gonna go over to the other gaming channel. I'm just gonna kick back and play some games. I'll probably play some Hell Let Loose tonight. If you're a fan of Hell Let Loose, come on, swing by. We'll chat about the game and how much I suck about it. Make sure you guys download our app. We ourselves are tonight's stream sponsor. The best ways to support us are going to be the free way, first and foremost, which is to download the app. But if you have the opportunity to, and you're in a position to, not everybody is, and you'd like to support us monetarily, check out our Patreon, check out the membership options here on YouTube, and check out our merch. We take a lot of pride in our merch. We partnered with Bunker Branding. They're great people. They've been great to work with. When we launched that merch, you guys purchased over something like 10,000 shirts from them in like a weekend, and they were able to get everybody's shirt shipped out. Really great people over at Bunker Branding. You can check the pinned comment for the merch, exclamation point merch, exclamation point Patreon. I'm going to leave you with the Bayraktar tonight because I haven't given you that in a little while, and I feel like I've let you down. Good night, and stay informed.
Форми